Today, we will be discussing about research variable. This is again your Sir Troy. Sit back and learn. Let's begin by presenting to you this term, academic performance. How can we measure academic performance? Okay, so grades can describe academic performance. Pwede natin gamitin yung grades para ma-measure natin yung academic performance. Now, think of any words that can be related or that has connection to this term, academic performance. Okay, I have here one, like for example, health issues. How does health issues related to academic performance? Let's say a certain student has a disability. So, pwedeng maapektuhan yung academic performance niya dahil sa pagkakaroon niya ng disability. Maybe kulang siya ng confidence, nahihiya siya, at nahihirapan siya sa pag-aaral. Okay? Another is learning materials. How does learning materials affects the academic performance? So, of course, pag ang isang estudyante ay equipped ng learning materials, pwedeng tumaas yung academic performance niya. Or, the other way around. Kung halimbawa, kulang siya ng learning materials, pwedeng bumaba yung academic performance niya. Another is peers. Do you believe that peers has a significant relationship to academic performance? Yes, maybe. Mayroon niya tayong kasabihan na, tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. So, kung ang isang student ay meron siyang barkada na puro achiever, matataas yung academic performance, so pwede siyang ma-impluwensyahan. Okay? Another is social media. Sabihin na natin yung isang estudyante ay addict sa Facebook. So, pwedeng mapabayaan niya yung kanyang pag-aaral kasi lagi na lang siya nagfe-Facebook. So, may bearing. Another is number of hours in studying. Literally, kapag mataas or lagi kang nag-aaral, ginugugol mo halos lahat ng oras mo sa pag-aaral, of course, tataas talaga yung academic performance mo. And then, another example is family income. May bearing ba yung family income sa academic performance? So, pwede, no? Kasi, like for example, ang isang student ay ang family background niya is, sabihin na natin below average yung kinikita ng kanyang parents. Of course, pwedeng hindi ma-provide yung mga pangangailangan ng estudyante. So, it might affect the academic performance. Okay? I'm not saying na lagi, So, posible. Okay? Now, these terms are what we call variables. Lahat ng term na ito ay tinatawag nating variables. Okay? And that will be our topic for today. What is a research variable? A variable in research is any property, a characteristics, a number or quantity that increase or decrease over time or can take on different values in different situations. Variable is also defined as anything that can affect the result of a study. It is anything that has quantity or quality that varies. So, that is the definition of variable. Pwede siyang maging property or a characteristics or pwede siyang maging number or quantity. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating characteristics, this is more on quality. Okay? When we say numbers, this is more on quantity. So here are the classifications of variable. First is numeric variable. Then we have categorical, experimental, and non-experimental. So ito yung mga classification of variable. At meron pa itong mga sub-classification. Now, let us discuss this one by one. Numeric variables. Numeric variables are quantitative in nature. These are variables with values that describes a measurable numerical quantity. This also answers the question how many or how much. And this is also classified into discrete or continuous. Or the other term for continuous is interval. Okay? Key terms for numeric variable. Pag sinabing numeric variable, it talks about numbers or quantity. Yun lang yung isipin natin para hindi tayo masyadong maguluhan. Okay? Again, numeric variable, numbers or quantity. Let us differentiate discrete and continuous variable. So, this is under numeric variable, no? Subclassification. Discrete variable can only assume any whole value within the limit of a given variables. Like for example, class attendance, number of establishments in an area, number of family or number of children in a family, and number of subject handled. So notice that all of these examples represents whole numbers. Okay? Key terms for discrete variable, whole number. Okay? Kunin natin itong example na to dito na number of children in a family. So, pag tinanong tayo, ilan yung anak ni Aling Maring? 3. So, wala ka namang sabihin natin 3.5, ano? Okay, let's continue. What is continuous variable? Continuous variable is a variable that assumes any value between a certain set of real numbers depending on the scale used. I have here an example: age, height, weight, and temperature. So, notice the difference, ano? Sa discrete, we are talking about whole. Dito naman sa continuous, these are datas na merong decimal. Or, in other words, hindi siya whole number. No? Kagaya ng example dito, temperature. What is the temperature of a certain room? So, pwede nating sabihin 28.96 degrees. May decimal point siya, hindi siya eksaktong buo. Ano? So, that is the difference between discrete variable and continuous variable. Okay, we will proceed now to the next classification, the categorical variable. Categorical variable is qualitative in nature. These are variables with values that describes a quality or characteristics of a data unit. This also answers the question what type or which category, hence categorical. And categorical can be classified into ordinal variable or nominal variable. And also, this can be classified into dichotomous variable and polychotomous variable. Keywords for categorical variables. This means quality or characteristics. So, walang numbers na involved. Okay? Let us differentiate ordinal and nominal variables. This is one subcategory or classification for categorical variables. Ordinal variables can take a value which can be logically ordered or ranked. This can be organized. For example, clothing size, academic ranking, levels of satisfaction, economic status, and educational attainment. So, all of this example has common characteristics. So, lahat sila pwede nating i-ranked, no? Or i-arranged in order. Halimbawa, dito sa academic performance or academic ranking, no? Mayroon tayong sinasabing with high honor or with honor. So, mas mataas syempre si with high honor, no? Another example here is educational attainment. Ito yung college graduate, master's graduate, or doctoral graduate. So, may ranking sila. Mas mataas si doctoral graduate compared sa college graduate. Okay? Next is nominal variable. These are values which cannot be organized in a logical sequence. For example, we have gender or sex, nationality, genres of music, hair or eye color, and blood type. So, notice that all of these examples cannot be arranged in order or this cannot be ranked. Ibig sabihin, halimbawa dito sa gender, male and female, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na mas mataas yung rank or value ni male compare sa kay female, no? Or dito sa blood type, type A, type B, or type O, ano? Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na mas mataas ang value ni type A compare sa kay type O. Okay? So those are the difference between the two. Pag sinabi nating ordinal, we consider ranking. Pag sinabi naman nating nominal, merely classification only, no? Walang ranking. Next, subcategory or subclassification for categorical variable is what we call dichotomous and polychotomous variables. Dichotomous variables are variables that represents only two categories. These are variables that holds precisely two distinct values. Like for example, sex. Dalawa lang yung category nila, male and female. Then, the options like yes or no, ano? Then, ito naman, meron tayong polychotomous. Variables that has many categories. 3 or more points of values. Example, performance level, college course, ano? So, simple lang. Ang pagkakaiba lang ng dalawa, pag sinabing dichotomous, 2 options only. Polychotomous, many options, more than 3, no? From the word poly, which means many. Moving on, we have another variable classification, which is the experimental variable. This is the variable that determine causal relationship. There are types of experimental variables, like independent variables, dependent variables, control variables, moderating variables, and extraneous variables. Let me discuss this one by one. Independent and dependent variables. Independent variable presumed to cause changes in another variable, usually manipulated in an experiment, or this is what we call the cause. Dependent variable are variables that changes because of another variable, usually affected by manipulation of the independent variable. These are variables that are monitored in an experiment, or this is what we call the effect. So to simplify, pag sinabi nating independent variable, ito yung nagiging dahilan kung bakit nagbabago yung tinatawag nating dependent variable. Pag sinabi naman nating dependent variable, ito yung mga variables na nagbabago because of the independent variable. So, nakadepende ang magiging value ng dependent variable sa kung ano yung value ng independent variable. Okay? Let's take an example mathematically. Okay? Halimbawa, x is our independent variable and y is our dependent variable. Take this equation. Y is equal to x plus 1. Okay? Now, take note. Ulitin natin ha. Ang x is independent variable at ang y, yun yung dependent variable natin. Ngayon, let's take or let's assume that our independent variable will be x is equal to 2. Sabihin natin na ang independent variable natin ay 2. So, papalitan natin siya, or we are going to substitute 2 from x dito, no, sa equation. So, you have y is equal to 2 plus 1. So, what will be our y? So y is equal to 3. No? So ang ating dependent variable ay 3, ang ating independent variable ay 2. Solving the equation, you have y is equal to 3. Okay? Now, palitan natin yung x ng value. Let's say x is equal to 5. Okay? And then we're going to solve for the equation. So that will be y plus, or no, let's say y equals 5, which is our x, plus 1. So what will be the value of our y? Y is equal to 6. So nag-change yung value ng y when x also changes. No? So nakadepende ang value ng y, which is our dependent variable, sa magiging value ni x. Okay? Let me explain further. I-connect natin sa research. Okay, so let's take this example. The effect of studying in academic performance of students. So napakasimpleng research title lang to, no, para mas maintindihan natin. I have here the independent variable, which is studying, or should I say number of hours in studying, related to the dependent variable, which is what we call the academic performance. Ngayon, yung academic performance ng isang student, nakadepende yan kung ilang oras siya nag-aaral sa bawat araw. So the more a student studies, of course, the higher grade yung makukuha niya. Mas magiging maganda yung academic performance niya. No? So that is the relationship between independent and dependent variable. Nakadepende yung magiging value ng dependent variable sa value ng independent variable. No? The more a student study, the higher the academic performance. Okay? So if one variable increases, the other variable also increases. Now, yung tanong dito, Sir Troy, is there a possibility na ang isang variable tataas at ang isa naman bababa? Or ang independent variable is mag-i-increase at ang dependent variable ay magdi-decrease? Yes, there is. And that is what we call inverse relationship. Let's take for example sa medical research. Halimbawa, the more na marami yung ginagawang vaccine, no, kontra COVID-19, mas liliit yung magkakaroon ng case ng COVID. So yun yung tinatawag nating inverse relationship. As one variable increases, the other variable decreases. Okay? So I hope that is clear. Okay guys, let's have an activity. So given the following phrases, identify the independent and the dependent variables. Underline the independent variable and encircle the dependent variables. So pwede nating i-post yung video para mas masagutan natin ng maayos. Number 1, low intake of food causes underweight. Number 2, slow down aging caused by blueberries. Number 3, sales promotion and advertisement. Number 4, drug and health improvement. And number 5, level of education influence job satisfaction. So, ngayon, sagutan natin. For number 1, our independent variable is the low intake of food, while our dependent variable is underweight. Number 2, slow down aging is our dependent variable, and blueberries is our independent variable. Number 3, sales promotion is our dependent variable, and advertisement is our independent variable. Next, drug is our independent variable and health improvement is our dependent variable. Lastly, levels of education is our independent variable and job satisfaction is our dependent variable. I hope that you got it perfect. Thank you. Another variable classification under experimental variable, we have control variable and moderator variable. So let us have the difference between these two. Control variables are variables that are held constant, so meaning hindi siya nag-change. This variable also helps to identify the possible differences in the outcomes as a result of controlling certain variables. Moderator variables are variables that delineates how a relationship of interest changes under different conditions or circumstances, maybe a qualitative or quantitative in nature. So I have here an illustration. Okay, let's take this example. Effect of playing music on the academic performance of the students. So we have here our independent variable and then the dependent variable. So the variable or the moderator variable that can affect these two variables, ito yung example natin, music. So ang music pwedeng maka-affect sa relationship ng dalawang variable na to, no? Let's say meron tayong tatlong genres of music, rock, mellow, and classical. So may mga students kasi na mas preferred nilang makinig sa rock music habang nag-aaral compare sa mellow music. So the relationship of this independent and dependent variable may vary kung magkakaroon tayo ng moderator variable. At ang example natin dito ay music. Okay? Now, we will proceed now to what we call the control variable. Yung control variable dito, ang sample natin is the time, duration. So, this is constant. Halimbawa, magbibigay lang tayo dito ng tagsi 60 minutes bawat genres of music para mas makita talaga natin or magkaroon tayo ng fair result, upon applying this moderator. So this is the example of a moderator variable and then the control variable. Okay, so let's have another variable classification under experimental, what we call extraneous variable. These are variables that are already existing during the conduct of an experiment. This variable could influence the conduct of the study. As much as possible, this must be controlled because they can offer an alternative result. Here is the best example for extraneous variable. Same title, effect of music on the academic performance of the students. Then we have the two variables, the independent and the dependent. So for our extraneous variable, ang example natin dito ay noise, lighting, or ventilation. So yung noise, present siya sa environment, constant, or andyan na talaga, no? But this kind of variables are not really included in the study. So kailangan siyang i-control para hindi mag-iba yung magiging result natin. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na extraneous variable. Halimbawa, noise. Kapag maingay yung surrounding, of course, hindi talaga makakapag-aral ng mabuti yung students. Magkaiba naman yung noise sa music. Okay? Pag sinabing noise, wala siyang rhythm. Okay, so that's the example for extraneous variable. Okay, so let's proceed now to non-experimental variables. Non-experimental variables are variables which cannot be manipulated by the researcher. No intervention is being applied. These are the types of non-experimental variables. Number 1, predictors or predictor variables. And then the other one is the criterion variables. This is similar also to the independent and dependent variables. Okay, so here is an example. So the topic is the influence of management styles on employee satisfaction. So predictors natin ay management styles, and then the criterion is the employee satisfaction. Bakit siya natawag na predictor? Unang-una, yung management style, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-manipulate. Meaning, constant talaga siya. Mayroon tayong mga styles na ginagamit. Okay? And then, our criterion is the employee satisfaction. So, yan. This is one example for the non-experimental, specifically on the predictor variables and then the criterion variables. Okay, so that's all for our today's tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot about research variable. So please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more educational videos. Thank you and God bless.